Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm making oven roasted chicken. As you can see, I got 2 whole chickens over here. The reason why I like to use a whole chicken is affordability. It's much more expensive to go buy organic chicken already filleted out in the grocery store than it is to buy a whole chicken. But secondly, after I'm done carving off the meat off this chicken, I'm left with the carcass to make a wonderful broth from. The equipment we're going to need for today's recipe is a roasting pan. And I like a roasting pan because it keeps the chicken off the bottom of the pan, so it allows the skin to crisp up a little bit at the bottom too. You're welcome to use an oven safe dish, that will totally work too. And you're going to need some kitchen twine because we want to tie the legs together so that all the juice won't escape out of it. Please keep all the skin on your chicken, that's really important in the cooking process. Alright, let's start here. As far as spices go, salt and pepper, man, they go a really long way. But let's be fancy today and add some dried rosemary and some garlic. Alright, first thing is you'd like to dry off your chicken a little bit. So the reason for that is so that when you put the spices on, it doesn't get all clumpy and soupy, and it stays on all the parts of the skin. This little chicken had a really good life. He ran around between some cows and exercised his legs, as you can tell. Nice big leg right there. Alright, wonderful. First thing, let's add a little bit of salt to our chicken. So let's add a little salt here. And we're going to turn it around. And salt on this end. But I just forgot something. We need to turn the oven on. So since that actually takes longer than preparing this chicken, let me do that. So we're going to switch it on to 450 degrees to start with, because we'd like a really hot temperature to blast this chicken on the outside. So you can seal the skin, you can seal all the juice into it. And then we're going to turn the oven down to 350 degrees for 20 minutes per pound of chicken. Each of these chickens are about 4 pounds and a quarter. So it's going to cook for a good 85 minutes at 350 after it's already cooked at 450 degrees for 15 minutes. Alright, we got our salt on. Let's do our pepper. Right over here. This is not completely rocket science. I'm going to hold off on this one. I'm going to show you something else on that one. Alright, some rosemary. A little bit of dried rosemary goes a really long way. If you have fresh rosemary in your garden, that works really great because you can put that in the cavity of this chicken. You can fold it into the wings, and you can get a really awesome flavor of the rosemary in there. Then some garlic. This is just some dried garlic. You can use fresh. Put that in the wing, right over here. Tap that all over the place. Excellent. And now I'm going to pour a little bit of lemon juice. You're welcome to cut up a lemon and just kind of stuff it in the chicken's cavity right there. But I'm going to pour a little bit of lemon juice inside the cavity of the chicken. We need some kitchen twine to tie the legs together. Let's see, it's about a little over a foot. I'm not the greatest at this, but I'm going to show you real quick how to tie this. So you grab the legs like this, then you swoop it around one end, and you swoop it around the other end, and then you tie that together. And this little chicken, don't let the juice fall out, it's going to go in my roasting pan right over here. And you'll see as you put it in the roasting pan, the little chicken stays together and the wings stay together, and you don't want any of the juice to fall out of it. Let me just move it. There we go. This one, let me nerd out for you a little bit. I mean, I really love cooking, so I have prepared, this is like a rosemary pesto almost. I have my food processor. I took fresh rosemary leaves, I stripped them off, put them in my food processor with some olive oil and some fresh garlic. And so I'm just going to take this and I'm going to spread this over my chicken a little bit like that. And so I'm getting it all over everything. It's been, this rosemary pesto, it's not really pesto, but it's been sitting in my fridge for a day now, so the rosemary is really soaked in to the olive oil that was in there. Excellent. All right, now it's nice to have a little rag to wipe your hands on. All right, let's not forget the lemon juice goes in there. I didn't have a fresh lemon, just really much more convenient to have lemon juice in your house. And let me put some black pepper in here. All right, and a little bit more salt. I like to put salt, I love salt. I'm going to put some salt and it will help crisp the skin up a little bit more. I'm excited to see what this is going to look like. Let's put some kitchen twine on here. All right, loop around one leg, loop around the other leg, and tie them together. A little knot. Excellent. Here's my little chicken. Come on, little chicken. All right. I don't totally let the chickens touch. Okay. Now I'm so fast that the oven is not even ready yet. Now that this oven is at 450 degrees, I'm going to put the chicken in the oven. I'm placing that in the center rack in my oven right here. Keep your back straight when you put things in your oven. And it's going to stay in here for 15 minutes. So I'm going to set this little timer for 15 minutes. I don't want to screw that up. After it's dinged and 15 minutes is up, I'm going to switch my oven temperature to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. It's going to stay in there for 20 minutes per pound of chicken. Since my chicken is 4 pounds and a quarter, it's going to be in there for 85 minutes. You don't need to leave it in there for any longer than 85 minutes since there's 2 birds in there. It takes the same amount of time. When it comes out, I'll see you then. Hello, welcome back. The oven dinged. Chicken is ready to be taken out. Just flat back. All right. Look at these little birds. They look great. This is my little olive oil rub one. It crisped up the skin really amazingly over there. Let's measure the inside temperature. All right. Switch it on. All right. It's at 175 degrees Fahrenheit. It's actually well overdone. Chicken is done at 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's go back in the drawer. Now we have to wait about 20 minutes before we can carve this because you want the juices to settle, you want it just to cool down a little bit, and we'll get this bird carved up. See you soon. Hello, welcome back. We are now ready to carve the chicken. It's been over 20 minutes. And there's a couple of different ways you can use to carve the chicken. You can use an electric knife, like this one. You can bring in your teenage sons and they'll just pry it apart like an animal. Or you can use a butcher knife, the same way you carve a turkey. But my favorite way is to just pull it apart with a fork and take the pieces out. But for the purpose of this, some people actually really like either a drumstick or a wing. So sometimes I'll cut that off ahead of time for somebody to have. So let me see if I do my best effort to cut it really nicely. Let's cut this one. If I was to cut something the easy way, cut through my arm, I cut through the elbow joint. That's just the easiest place to cut it at. So I'll cut right through that joint. Beautiful little leg right there. Do the other one since I was so good at that one. not so awesome with this one. Yeah, not so great. Alright, I'm not perfect. Let's rip the wings off here. I hold paper towel because it's a little bit too hot to really cut. Great, that one. Oh, and this one just gonna fall apart. Alright, here's my favorite and fastest way to get the meat off this chicken. Hold down, push it down to the back, into the breastbone, and fry it apart. This is really the easiest way and fastest way to get everything off really good. But before I bore you with this whole thing, what I normally do is I never waste anything on my chicken. So I save all those precious bones, so I debone the chicken for you before, so I can show you what I do with this debone. Put it really nicely in this foil, wrap it up. Alright, and I just throw it in my freezer. And I have a lot of these little tiny packages, and I'll eventually make some nice chicken broth with that. I'm going to continue peeling off the rest of this chicken, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to dirty up my stove right over here. And then all this awesome fat drippings, please don't throw this away. If you do, it's sinning. We're going to pour a little bit in this one, and then share it, and pour a little bit in this one. So now all that dry chicken breast is getting all this moist, awesome fat drippings back into it. So nobody has to choke on some chicken breasts. Really great broth. We'll probably take some bread and dip it in that later tonight. I'm going to finish off filleting this. Now this is really perfect. This comes with a lid. Put it on top. I can put it in my fridge for later use. I can put it in my freezer for later use. But it's really a time saver when you make two birds with one stone. Alrighty. Hi, now that we've deboned this whole chicken, let me show you real quick how to make a chicken pucky. One of the ingredients is definitely going to be a nice big burrito-sized tortilla. And toppings. I have some of my Cajun spice. I have some stone ground mustard here. I have some chicken already put over here, cheese, and I have some sauerkraut and microgreens. This is going to be a bomb one. First, switch this stove on to nice and high, because this is a sprouted wheat tortilla, and when you start folding it, it kind of cracks. So you want to heat it up to make it a little bit more pliable. So I don't want it too hot, but put that on there. If you have a gas stove, you can do the same thing on your gas stove. If you have an induction stove, put it in a pan, and you can do the same exact thing in the pan. That's nice and pliable. Let's add a couple pieces of cheese to this one, and some mustard. This is some Dijon style brown mustard. All right. Some chicken. Now the chicken that I deboned over here is not all in tiny little bits and pieces, so I'm just going to quickly chop them up so that it's edible little bites. Alright, excellent. Let's put this in that one. Really good. Gotta put a little bit of sauerkraut in here, and sauerkraut adds a little fermentation, some good bacteria to the meal, some nice fiber. Awesome. A little bit of my Cajun spice. This is similar to Tony Chachere's. And a little microgreen. They're delicious. They have a little bit of peppiness to them. Alright. Fold once. Fold twice. Third time. Fourth. And close it up. We use the foil to kind of rescue the whole shape of this little puppy. Awesome. Smaakt lekker eten!